To Maria-chan, the epitaph isn't a guide to the hidden gold, but magic to revive the witch. So it was the single link between Maria and the witch. Maria was very angry and clung to George Anarchy. Jessica and I scratched our heads and apologized. It might not be possible to smooth things over again like the time she got mad in front of the portrait. Maria didn't seem willing to be easily consoled. Like Jessica and I, who hung our heads wondering what to do, Shannon-chan timidly opened her mouth. Maria-sama, did you know? There's a ghost story about Beatrice that has been passed down among the servants. Who? Ah, yeah, that's right. They didn't tell us about it. I don't really know, but apparently it's pretty famous among the servants. What's this? A ghost story? Yes. Seems that it's a story from before we were born. I also heard about it from my mother. Yes. It has been passed down since the time of the mansion's construction. The servants of that time whispered that the mansion had two masters, one of the day and one of the night. The tale that Shannon told was just like a typical campfire ghost story. If there was a forest with a witch living inside it, then of course the witch would come pay the mansion a visit from time to time. At some point, this ghost story naturally spread it up between the servants. When people do the rounds a second time to check doors, windows, and locks that were supposedly closed, so they'll find some of them left open. Lights that were supposed to be off were turned on, and lights that were supposed to be on went out. Things left lying around would disappear, and things would appear when no one had any memory of putting them there. When any of these things happened, the old servants would say that the witch had visited the mansion invisible and was playing pranks. Half-Narrow, I hope your midterm goes well. I hope your studying has been productive. And welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I always love having you here. Ooh! See, she exists! Beatrice exists! Yeah, she exists. Long ago, it was always right before leaving for school that I wasn't able to find my bag and stuff. Maria puffed out her chest with an ooh ooh as though this was final proof of the witch's existence. If I opened my mouth, Maria would probably be hurt again, so I didn't. I mean, you hear this kind of story everywhere. Depending on the place, they might blame it on a dwarf or an elf. The only difference is that they call it a witch on this island. Of course, walking around a vast, elegant mansion at night would be a little unsettling. And an island devoid of people. Since the mansion is so drafty, walking around on the night of a thunderstorm would certainly be eerie. In addition, some servants have also seen will-o'-the-wisps, glittering butterflies dancing around. Kennen-kun also saw something like that when he went patrolling one night. And recently, you'll often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight. Is that a noise kids generally make, the Maria noise? I think the noise that Maria makes is... How do I describe this? One of the first things I learned in Japanese class when I was taking Japanese 101 was if you have to pause, don't say go like UN. So or you can also say as a yes or as no, like a shorthand sort of sound. So there's a lot more ooh type sounds in Japanese. What's the word for it? It's not onomatopoeia. It's just like it is onomatopoeia. Just they're pause words. I think it's a written out version of the Japanese equivalent of someone going ooh ooh, or like just basically it's a noise to make a noise. To what I know, but we'll see. Also, I just realized she has a tattoo, I think of the wing on her leg. Oh boy. We've whispered together that Beatrice-sama in the portrait sometimes makes herself invisible and walks through the mansion. Filler words, yes, that's it, thank you. It happened a while ago, but even I have heard footsteps while patrolling at night that resemble these stories. I think the point half narrow, because I know that her mom is upset to some extent that she makes that noise. I think it's a very juvenile filler word. So I think that's why it's like a thing that she does that. Anyway, whew, that's scary. But there's nothing to be afraid of. Beatrice-sama is another ruler of this mansion, separate from the master, so there's no need to be unnaturally afraid. To respect her, I hear she won't do anything bad. However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right? Correct. I've heard that just before I began working here, someone who spoke badly about Beatrice-sama fell down the stairs and quit after receiving a large injury to their back. Because of that, there was a rumor between the servants that Beatrice-sama's anger had been brought down upon this person. Ooh! Anger will definitely be brought down upon Battler and Jessica. Ooh. I'm sorry. I don't want her anger brought down upon me. I apologize, Maria. Of course, I also apologize to the witch. I'm sorry, Beatrice-sama. Please forgive an outsider's nonsense. I'll apologize as well. I'm sorry, Beatrice-sama. Will the witch be able to forgive us now? Okay, so Jessica's symbol is on her sleeve here. Battler has it there. Maria has it on her corset, I guess? Her dress? I have a hard time figuring out her outfit. It's cute, though. Ooh, don't know. Witches are fickle, so they forgive when they want to and don't when they don't. Ooh. That's no good. Maria-chan, isn't there some kind of good luck charm that could prevent Battler-kun and Jessica-chan from suffering Beatrice-sama's wrath? Maybe something that can block against magic. By relying on Maria, who is proud of knowing the most about witches, George was trying to revive her self-esteem. Once again, I've got to admire his ability to calm kids down. After taking a moment to cross her arms and seriously ponder whether there might be a charm that could save us, she started flipping through the pages in her notebook. I thought it was just a scribbled diary, but there also seemed to be quite a few pages that looked like they'd come from a book on black magic. Maria solemnly considered a group of these pages, which contained things that looked like magic circles. Apparently, Grandfather wasn't the only one with a black magic hobby. When Maria finally found what she was looking for, she snapped the notebook shut and threw it into her handbag. She then began fishing through that bag's contents. There seemed to be various jumbled up things in there. After a while, she took out various pieces of junk, although they were probably important magical items to Maria, and repeatedly threw them back in, saying they were wrong. It was all a little humorous, just like when Doraemon took out the wrong tool. Doraemon is a Japanese show. I think that would be like Dora the Explorer pulling out wrong tools from her backpack repeatedly. I don't know. I never actually watched that show. Finally, she seemed to discover what she was looking for. With a face that was unimaginably cheery when compared to the intense expression she had worn until now, she held those out to Jessica and me. Ooh! I grabbed it and saw it was a very cheap-looking charm. It looked like a bracelet made from a plastic rosary, with a scorpion-themed medal attached. Haven't you ever seen those cheap Zodiac-themed accessories? The kind you might win in a crane game at an arcade. It really looked like something like that. There were two of them. Probably one for me and one for Jessica. However, the very fact that there were two of them made me feel even more like cheap manufactured goods, making it pretty hard to think of them as magical items. You're giving these to me and Battler? Ooh! With these charms, you don't even need to worry about Beatrice, because scorpions have the power to ward off magic. Huh, really? Didn't know scorpions could do that. Ooh, Battler doesn't believe. Ooh. I'd said too much and angered Maria again. Maria took out her notebook again, pointing out various pages as she went on and on about how the scorpion had such incredible holy power that it had been used in magic-repelling magical circles since ancient times. I've heard about that from some of the other young servants. Something about how the scorpion is drawn as a magic-repelling symbol in sorcery. Huh, really? Ooh, the scorpion protects against bad magic and calamity. The emerald brings peace to the heart. Therefore, its effects are twofold. Ooh. It's true. Scorpion wraps around the emerald and protects it. Yes, that certainly does sound like it'd work well. Really wanted to make fun of those worthless-looking charms, but as I watched Maria explaining with all her heart and realized that she'd found them for our sakes, I started to feel like it might actually work, even if it was just a prize from some game center. The material quality of the charm didn't matter. What mattered was the strength of her feelings. Even I don't think of myself as the sort of loser who'd laugh at something like that. Okay, thank you. I apologize to Beatrice-sama, but even if I do end up getting cursed, I'll be safe now thanks to Maria's charm. Right, Jessica? Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Maria. Ooh! Wear it on your arm when you want your heart to be at peace. Put it in your wallet and your money won't decrease. If you hang it from a doorknob, bad things can't get in. It's a really convenient charm. What an incredible effect. If Maria-sama gives it her confident seal of approval, then it surely must be reliable. Shin-chan clapped her hands together and Maria stuck out her chest. She was totally in a good mood again. It's probably best if we let her lead the conversation a bit longer, if it'll keep her in such a good mood. Come to think of it, she looked a bit bored when we were getting excited about the hidden gold, probably because she couldn't keep up. While eating the cookies Kumasawa-san had baked, Jessica and I asked Maria this and that about black magic. Maria happily chatted away in response to our questions. Each time, George, Aniki, and Shannon-chan would act surprised or chime in. The clouds in the sky grew darker and darker, but we cousins really enjoyed communicating freely after a year of separation. Sorry, I needed a drink. Did I just feel a drop on my forehead? Huh? I wonder. As George Aniki rubbed his forehead, he looked up at the sky. Considering the color of the sky and the dampness of the air, it wouldn't have been odd for a raindrop to hit him. The wind also seemed to have grown a bit stronger. Ooh, I didn't feel a drop. Only I didn't. Ooh. Don't worry, neither did I. Anyway, I'm sure it'll rain so much tonight that everyone will get to feel plenty of raindrops. That's right. Maybe we should head back soon. Shannon-chan looked down at her watch. It was probably well into the evening by now. Is it already time for you to return to your work? Yes. Thank you very much for allowing me to enjoy some time together with you all. Tell Kumasawa-san thanks for the cookies. Okay, everyone, help out with the cleanup. Shannon-chan declined our help, saying this was a servant's job. But picking up dropped forks before the waitress heads to is pretty much my purpose in life. We folded up the blanket, gathered up the trash, and helped clean everything up. Ooh! The trash is getting away! Ooh! Won't let it escape. I'll grab it before Maria does. Ooh! I'll grab it. Ooh! Maria, don't get your shoes wet. You'll get in trouble. Maria, chasing after some trash sent flying by the powerful winds, was just another game. By the time we'd finished, the wind was blowing pretty strongly. Probably a good time to head back. You've all helped me out a lot. Thank you very much. It looks like you're really out of time. It's okay if you head back first. George Aniki perceived from her hurried appearance that very little of her free time was left. Genji-san is very strict about time. If you don't show up where you're supposed to be at the right time, I bet he'll be pissed. We'll see you later. Do your best with your work. Yes. Then if you'll excuse me. After making a respectful bow, Shan-chan ran towards the rose garden. Okay, let's head back to the guest house. We can watch TV or something and relax a little. Ooh, wanna watch TV? Wanna watch TV? Ooh. Then it's decided. Let's all head back and watch TV together. Maria, who wasn't done having fun, agreed once television was mentioned. We climbed up the gentle stairs and returned to the rose garden. The wind had grown very strong, and roses shook throughout the garden like ripples on water. This might be our last chance to see these beautiful roses. I'll bet tonight's typhoon ruins them. These roses might be done in by tonight's winds. You're right. Still, I think the roses were pretty lucky. After all, they got to welcome all of you before the typhoon. All flowers lose their petals eventually, but that means we can admire them even more when they're in bloom. That's right. Maria, burn this image into your eyes. At this moment, they're the best roses of the year. Ooh, burn into eyes. Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she'd remembered something. My rose! The typhoon will send it flying! Ooh. Oh, you mean that sad-looking rose George and a key marked with a ribbon? Maria apparently remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her. Where was that again? I'm sure it was somewhere around here. We searched everywhere around that area, but it was only a single flower among all these roses after all. Even though we knew it was somewhere close by, we weren't able to find it. The winds making up the typhoon's front lines made roses throughout the garden undulate. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find. Maybe it wasn't here. Let's try spreading out a bit in our search. Sounds good. Let's go for strength in numbers. What's up, Maria? As we made to split up and search, Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. You could tell she didn't want us to leave that spot. What is it? What's wrong? Ooh, my rose is here. It's here. But it's actually not, right? Maybe it was on the other side of the flower bed. If we all look, we'll find it fast, okay? Ooh, it's here. My rose is here. Look for it. Look for it. Ooh. Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She pointed at that spot and said it was definitely there, but in actuality it wasn't. Even so, Maria got mad when we said we were going to search elsewhere. We were at a loss for what to do. For a while, we had to stay near Maria and pretend to search through the rose thicket. Ooh, not here, not here, not here, ooh! Maybe she's saying that it should be here but isn't. Maria became increasingly irritated. Oh man, Maria's really losing her temper. Sometimes Maria starts to really care about really pointless stuff. If she gets what she wants, that's okay, but can't find something that isn't there. That's not good. We want to bet the gardener snipped it. Like one of the servants snipped it while she was away. Because it wasn't a good rose. Cannon, what'd you do? Just when we were at a loss of what to do, Maria called out in a loud voice. Mama! Ooh! You could see Aunt Rosa in the direction Maria was waving her hand. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came. Maybe she had some business at the guest house. Aunt Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over. My, what happened, everyone? Are you looking for something? Look for it! Mama, you look for my rose too! Ooh! Your rose? We found a healthy rose around here and marked it. We tied a candy wrapper around it. But Maria, if I remember correctly, it was growing right in front and really stood out, didn't it? Unless it grew legs and ran off somewhere, it must have been somewhere else. Maybe you remembered it wrong. Ooh! It is here! It is here! Rattler doesn't believe. Ooh! How many times do I have to tell you to stop saying ooh before you'll understand? Mama will look for it, so stay quiet. Never seen Aunt Rosa be anything other than kind and gentle, so her anger surprised me a bit. Aunt Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being, but we were already more than sure it wasn't around here. So it didn't take long for Aunt Rosa to realize that too. Rose isn't here. Did you mistake this place for somewhere else? There are so many roses around. Ooh! Ooh! That's wrong! It is here! Mama doesn't believe. Ooh! I already believed you and looked hard for it, didn't I? But it isn't here. Ooh! But it is here! It is here, but it isn't! Ooh! Then someone must have ripped it out. Anyway, stop saying ooh. Ooh! Oh my gosh. Getting tired of ooh. Who ripped out my rose? Who did? Give it back! Give it back! Ooh! Ooh! How should I know? Stop it! Stop saying ooh! Aunt Rosa's saying what we're all— oh gosh. Aunt Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. That instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected, she started yelling even louder. Insert ooh-oohs here. My rose! My rose! More ooh-ooh! Didn't I tell you to stop that weird habit? That's why all the kids in your class make fun of you. Cut it out! Once again, her palm slapped Maria's cheek. This time, she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying, began to bawl in an increasingly loud voice. Aunt Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand once more to try and shut her daughter up. Aunt Rosa, no, she's just a little kid, so there's no reason to get so serious. Tried to cut in with a bitter smile, rubbing my hands together. But Aunt Rosa glared at me with a serious face. I realized I should have stayed out of this. Sorry, but could the rest of you go back to your room for a bit? I need to have a little talk with Maria. Ooh! Nobody believes in my rose, even though it was here. Ooh! Look for it! Look for it! Here, it was here! Ooh! But it's not here, so you must have confused this place for somewhere else, right? Ooh! It is here! It's definitely here! Ooh! And it disappeared. Give it up. Yes, Maria is wearing a crown, and this family does suck. And I'm doing most of the oohs because it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels necessary. I don't know why. Because if her speech pattern does change later, it might be indicative. I think that's why it seems important. I don't know, there's something about this character that I'm like, I feel like I need to do it. I don't know. Why? Why did it disappear? Why? Ooh. I don't know that. So stop saying ooh. Aunt Rosa once again raised her hand, overcome by emotion, and slapped Maria's cheek. It was strong enough to knock Maria over. Good lord. Hey, Aunt Rosa, even if she is your daughter, violence is the answer. I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground, crying. I knew that, as an outsider, problems between parent and child were none of my business, but child abuse isn't okay. But I wasn't brought up to just silently observe something like this. Good. Don't you think it's weird, Battler-kun? Are there any girls at your school who mutter ooh? Well, I'm in high school. But for an elementary schooler, I think that saying it is pretty cute. Cute? Saying it is cute? Cute? My careless words seemed to have earned me Aunt Rosa's wrath. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression. Don't say such nonsense. Do you know how old Maria is? She's 9. She's a 4th grader, not a kindergartner. But she still makes that sound during class. Don't you get it? Do you know what they say about this kid when they bully her? Thanks to this weird habit, she still hasn't made a single friend. Don't turn your eyes from reality and carelessly call Maria cute. Think more seriously about this kid's future. Maria is crying. I told you, stop making that sound. Didn't I tell you to stop it? Aunt Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unhappy voice was rising. Good lord. I tried to stop it, but Aunt Rosa pushed me away. My back hit George Anarchy. A long time ago, Aunt Rosa also thought of it as nothing more than one of Maria Chan's baby words. Now that it hasn't been fixed even midway through elementary school, she's been worrying about it a lot. How she talks isn't really that big of a deal, right? She'll never make it as an adult if she's like that. So even though it isn't fun to watch, this is a problem between parent and child. Well, I get chewed out by Mom all the time because of how I talk. When they put it that way, maybe even a scene as painful as this isn't something an outsider like me should butt in on. Battler-kun, when you were a kid, didn't you have any bad habits that you couldn't fix and that got you into trouble? Well, 1 or 2. On Parents' Day once, I kept yelling at in front of everyone. I kept getting yelled at in front of everyone, and it was embarrassing as all hell. Well, then you can understand how the 2 of them must feel right now. I'm sure they don't want us to be here right now. I understand too, don't you, Jessica-chan? I don't think anyone likes to be seen when they're being scolded. This is beyond scolding. Let's go. We'll return to the guest house. Then after Maria-chan comes back, let's welcome her as if nothing happened. That's probably for the best, isn't it? I thought Georgianiki's point was probably a reasonable one. We may have been eager to use that reasonable-sounding argument as a justification of retreat from this heart-rending scene. Jessica and I nodded at Georgianiki, and we all laughed. I called towards Maria, telling her we were going to head to the guest house, but she didn't seem to hear, and we felt sort of guilty and shameless after saying it. In that case, look by yourself as much as you want. Mama doesn't care. Ooh, I'll look for it. I'll look for it by myself, even if Mama doesn't care. Have it your way. After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heels and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold gesture meant to injure. That wasn't Rosa's intention. Because the hand with which she had so emotionally struck Maria's cheek was still numb. It was because if she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continued slapping her daughter's cheek over and over. After Rosa left, Maria was left alone in the rose garden. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while, a raindrop would fall on her forehead. However, Maria couldn't leave that place. Not until she found that poor wilting rose. It had definitely been there. Even so, it wasn't. Even though she knew the place, and even though it had been there, it wasn't. Maria bitterly stared at the place it was supposed to be and thought frantically. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. While gazing at a single point, Maria repeatedly stood up, changed her position, and continued to stare. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, but Maria kept on looking for that rose in front of the flower bed. Kenzo noticed the sound of raindrops beating on the window. It seemed to be pouring down thickly. It had begun to rain later than the weather report had predicted. Kenzo approached the window as if being summoned by the sound of the rain. The sound of rain is a sound of silence. The sound feels quieter than any silence. It makes humans remember that, in the end, they are alone from the moment they're born to the moment they die. You're late, Beatrice. Were those words directed at the rainy sky? There is no one to be seen in the direction of Kenzo's gaze. Well then, let us begin. Let us begin our banquet of miracles. This island has now been cut off from the world. Now there are none who can interrupt my ceremony. There are many fitting sacrifices for you, oh good lord. 4 of my children, 3 of their companions, 4 of my grandchildren, me and my guests and my servants. You may devour as many as you please. Key of Fate will select the sacrifices in accordance with the demon's roulette. If that roulette chooses me, even I will become your sacrifice. However, because of that, because I will bet on such madness, I will most assuredly bring forth a grand miracle. Come, devour to your heart's content. I will achieve victory over that roulette. Yes, I'll put everything on the line. First, I'll return the inheritance of the Ushiramiya family. Accept it. Kenzo tore the window open, ripped a gold ring off his finger, and forcefully threw it away. At that time, the sound of thunder rang out, giving an illusion that the lightning had accepted the ring. And, when you're resurrected, surely I will be the one who stands witness. Will survive until the end and watch over you as you awaken. So come, Beatrice. Welcome to my banquet. In exchange for all that I have created, show me another miracle just this once. Oh, Beatrice. Only end hell. News ticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, food, and wave warnings. Rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing. This rain's incredible. Still, when it's raining this hard, it also feels like it might stop at any moment. You wish. They said the typhoon's moving slow, so it might be like this all day tomorrow. And even a little bad weather stops the boats from coming. Looks like we won't be able to head out on Sunday after all. Just in case, I cleared all outside business from my Monday schedule. I'm glad I did. Which means, hey, looks like we'll get to skip school Monday. Living on an island's starting to sound pretty good. Come to think of it, Jessica, you gotta take a boat to school every day, don't you? What do you do when the boats stop running? You stay home when it rains and show up late when the wind's blowing like King Kamehameha? If boats don't come, I stay home. Still, it's not as good as it sounds. Usually I'm ordered to study by myself, and it's not that fun with someone standing right behind you watching everything you do. During the rainy season, does the weather ever stay bad for a long time and make you miss a bunch of days in a row? That does happen sometimes. Still, I'll get a call from my homeroom teacher every single day, who'd thoroughly guide me on how I should teach myself and what I had to turn in. Can't skip school as easily as you're imagining, Battler-kun. Just gotta follow the rules for people that travel to school by boat and get a good amount of studying done. It'd actually be easier to just go to school. In my own room, I get distracted and can't concentrate. After being made to do nothing but workbooks for several days straight, it's pretty hard to handle all that mental stress. When I get into college, I really just want to go to some dorm and quickly say goodbye to this inconvenient island. Ah, okay. By the way, what do you do when the weather's good in the morning, but then gets so bad on your way home that the boats are closed? Do you spend the night at school? That actually happens a lot. Because of that, they've built some lodgings there for people who can't get back to the island they live on. That's where you'd spend the night. Sometimes when it gets really bad, you can't get back home for a few days at a time. Someone commuting to school or work on a train packed to twice its capacity might carelessly think that commuting by boat would be pretty interesting and fun, but it sounds like it comes with troubles of its own. You hear thoughtless tourists saying stuff like that all the time. I've had enough of island life. I really want to just graduate high school and say goodbye to this island. But there are all dorm schools even for high school, right? Why'd you choose that Nijima school of all places? I wanted to go to one of those from the beginning. But Mom's always going on about how I need to learn manners and discipline as the successor. So I ended up sticking close to home even for high school. Man, I hate this island. I just want to go live in a city. I don't care if rain or even spears fall from the sky, as long as I can move to a city where I can wear casual clothes and sandals. I can get to a convenience store in less than 5 minutes. Ha! Hold out just a little longer. Just a bit more and you'll graduate high school, right? Can't wait a little longer. Jessica stretched out and reclined in the sofa. Maybe it was a bad time slot because there weren't any interesting programs on. We had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin room after all. Aunt Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. It had to be pretty boring for Maria all by herself while the adults had a confusing conversation. Thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather was really awful. Since there wasn't much time until dinner, we stayed where we were. At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered. Yes? The preparations for dinner are complete. Please come to the mansion. It was Canon-kun's voice. Did you go to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to greet us? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route. Just when I was getting hungry. Let's go. Reggianiki turned off the television and stood up. My stomach's been growling for a while. I've always been a huge fan of the main family's dinners. And didn't Goda-san say it was calf steak or something? Oh, I can't wait. Our dinners are always even more fabulous than usual when the family conference comes around. Even I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, let's go. As we left the room, Canon-kun bowed silently, and respectfully. Hey, let's go. The rain pretty nasty out there. Yes. Take care not to get your garments wet. After seeing the three of us out, Canon-kun peered into the empty room. Wasn't Maria-sama with you? No, she's not. Wasn't she with Aunt Rosa? Oh, no. Oh, no. Rosa was lying on a sofa in an empty parlor, having fallen asleep before she knew it. She was bearing a burden that the children couldn't even imagine. That's why she only needed to let her guard down a little before the weariness immediately dragged her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she'd been shocked with electricity. Ah! Thank you, Genji-san. She realized that the thing that had touched her was just a blanket, and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her. She let out a sigh of relief. Did I wake you? My sincerest apologies. No, it's okay. I hadn't planned on sleeping in the first place. What time is it now? He asked for the time. When he was asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket. Just slightly after 6 o'clock. Rosa gave her head a little shake. She realized that not much time had actually passed, even though it felt like she'd slept for ages. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that had enveloped her must have been pretty deep. Thank you. I'll be fine without the blanket. I mustn't sleep at such a strange time. My sense of time has been completely thrown off. The rain finally started pouring in earnest, hasn't it? Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain. The wind's blowing hard, too. Wonder if the typhoon's finally here. That's what they said on TV. The typhoon is moving slowly, so they think it will be like this all day tomorrow. Really? So our last chance to see that wonderful rose garden must have already passed by. From the window, she could see what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and rain. Maria. That's right. What about Maria? I have not seen her. Did she not return to the guest house? Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, so a chill ran down her spine. Maria was stubbornly honest. If she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever. Even in pouring rain. No. Cousins left before I did, so Maria was alone. Unless someone told her to stop, she'd stay there even if it started raining spears, without even opening an umbrella. How could I have lost control of my emotions and done such a thing? Even though she'd known about Maria's simple honesty better than anyone, she'd once again lost control of her emotions and done something terrible. Maria! Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hall. Outside really looked like a typhoon, and the rain was pouring down spectacularly. Maybe because of some aspect of the terrain, winds weren't typhoon class, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it certainly was a windy rain. There was no time to admire the roses being drenched. Anyway, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You don't think she's still rebelliously searching for that rose alone, do you? I wonder. Surely she wouldn't do it in this rain, or at least I wish I could believe that. But Maria-chan sometimes gets really stubborn and intensely straightforward. He hadn't worried much, thinking that Aunt Rosa had taken her back to the mansion. However, when Ken-kun had come from the mansion to call us and thought Maria was here, we got a little worried. Did not see her in the mansion, so I was sure she was here. After all, Rosa-sama was taking a nap. You didn't see her on your way over here? My apologies. I opened my umbrella and ran as fast as I could, so I did not pay much attention. He had cut through the rose garden, taking the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house. Then he would have just barely missed the place where Maria had been looking for a rose. It was raining this hard, too. It surely would have been possible for Ken-kun to fail to notice her. Instead of arguing around here, it'd be faster to just check it out directly. Aniki, why don't we race over there? Oh, do you think you can beat me now that you've been growing 6 years? Okay, let's settle this. Go! George, Aniki, and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Kenan followed us. Maria! If you're there, answer me! Maria! It's Aunt Rosa. Hey, Aunt Rosa! When George Aniki called back, Aunt Rosa jumped at him and grabbed onto him. Where's Maria? Isn't she with you? No, we didn't meet with Maria-chan after that. Maria! 6 years ago, Maria was 3 years old. She was a cute and pure kid who'd just accept whatever anyone said. The 6 years have passed since then. She's 9 now, and experiencing the ups and downs of life should have taught her something. But Maria, are you telling me that you're still as innocent and pure as you used to be? Maria! Circled the rose bed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Maria was crouching down, holding a white umbrella and still searching for that rose. Ooh! Her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirty with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight. Maria, are you still looking? Ooh, can't find it. Can't find my rose. Ooh. Maria had probably been here since the rain started pouring down. Her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she wasn't completely soaked. The umbrella probably came from the handbag Maria always carried around. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. Battler-kun, thank goodness you found her. Maria! I'm sorry. Aunt Rosa threw her umbrella aside and hugged Maria. Ooh, it's not here. My rose isn't here. I'll look for it with you later, okay? Just put it on hold for today, okay? Put it on hold for today. Looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy left to resist. Jessica and Ken-kun caught up with us. I'll have a towel ready at the mansion immediately. Maria, were you here this whole time? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being such a bad mother. Aunt Rosa, why don't we head back to the mansion for the time being? If we stay here, Maria will catch a cold. You're right. Maria, let's go. If we don't get you cleaned up, Grandfather will be mad. Ooh, hungry. Already time to eat. You did a good job holding out, Maria. Once the weather gets better, we'll all go search together. We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as worn out as I thought. When she remembered we were having calf steak for dinner, she started chanting, I'm hungry, ooh, and returned to her usual spirited self. Aunt Rosa didn't chide Maria for saying, ooh. I see. So she had an umbrella on her. Maria sure is good at packing for the right stuff. Ooh, I didn't bring an umbrella. Ooh. What? Then how'd you get that white umbrella you're holding? Ooh, I borrowed it. Some caring person must have brought her an umbrella. A normal kid would look for shelter once it started raining, but Maria was too stubborn to give up so easily. So maybe that caring person gave up on telling Maria to find shelter, then decided to at least give her an umbrella. I see. I'll have to thank that person. Who was it? Ooh, Beatrice! Mother trucker. The name Maria cheerfully mentioned was that of the island's witch. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to do so in a way that wouldn't damage Maria's good mood. Really? That's wonderful. So who was it? Who brought you that umbrella? Ooh, Beatrice. Ooh. Maria immediately realized that her mother didn't believe her and started crying out unhappily again. Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It'd probably be faster to ask whoever lent Maria the umbrella during dinner, rather than ask Maria herself. Sorry, I'm chugging tea between scenes. Father, please at least join us for dinner. It won't be a family conference otherwise. Along with the dull pounding of the door, the sound of Cross's entreaty could be heard. However, that voice seemed to be resigned to the fact that nothing it said would be heard. Kinzo-san, won't you at least come out for dinner? All your children have gathered here to see your face, haven't they? Silence, Nanjo. So the bishop won't work. One move too short. Apparently, Kinzo was completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. Kinzo's brow was wrinkled as he continued to gaze at the game board through his spectacles. Ross's voice didn't reach his ears. Kinzo-san, I'm hungry myself. Why don't we go down and eat? Go by yourself if that's what you want. Let me consider this next move for a little while longer. We are going to finish it tonight. Otherwise, it's doubtful we'll finish before the world ends. Nanjo rose from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same, but Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess, but he'd never seen Kinzo concentrate as hard as this. It was almost as though Kinzo was telling the truth. There would never be another chance for them to continue their contest if they didn't finish this tonight. It seemed that no matter how obstinately he called out to Kinzo, it wouldn't reach the latter's heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Kraus was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Kraus was taken aback, thinking maybe Kinzo was actually coming out. However, Nanjo was the one who appeared, and Kraus let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Nanjo, His father, sorry I couldn't be of service. Right now, this room is Kinzo-san's whole world. Nanjo shook his head with completely defeated expression. Kraus raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting, Father, can you hear me? We're heading down now, but please join us at any time if you feel like it. All of your children are waiting for you. His voice was very loud, and he was making a racket pounding on the door. There's no way it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. Well, it certainly was reaching him, but he ignored it anyway. However, unlike the time we'd been called down for lunch, he didn't fly into a rage. But now Kinzo was calm at heart, almost as though he had taken on a philosophical view and turned himself over to fate. Neither dinner nor the faces of my children interest me in the slightest. We'll only leave here if Beatrice is resurrected, or if I am chosen as a sacrifice for the key. Demon's roulette has already started spinning. What meaning does dinner have at this point? As though the painfully loud banging on the door completely failed to enter his hearing, Kinzo silently thought about his next chess move, still in his philosophical state. Just as always, Kinzo's figure couldn't be seen anywhere in the dining hall. Kraus, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo. Father says he's still not feeling well. He truly regrets missing this once-a-year opportunity to sit down with his gathered family. Even Rudolph sniggered. Given Kinzo's personality, there was no way he'd show signs of regret, and none of his relatives showed any regret at his absence. Then why don't we start dinner? Goto, begin. Certainly. Well then, if you will allow me. When Goto was told to start the family conference dinner, his biggest time to shine for the whole year, he nodded with a broad grin. May I ask who lent Maria an umbrella? When Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone noticed. An umbrella? What's this about? A short while back, Maria was in the rose garden when it started raining. She apparently borrowed a white umbrella from someone. I wanted to thank them. It wasn't one of us. After you left, we moved to a different room and had friendly chat that whole time. That's right. Even after that, the siblings had a real friendly chat. The word friendly felt awkward from Hideyoshi's lips. So even those who hadn't been present could tell the conversation hadn't been a pleasant one. At the very least, it couldn't have been me, Eva, Rudolph, Hideyoshi-san, or Kirie-san. We were together the whole time, even after Natsui-ne-san and Rosa-san left. The whole time until the meal started. Nisan went up to the study with Genji to call father. That time, the rest of us went straight to the dining hall. So it wasn't one of us. Couldn't it have been a servant, kind enough to lend an umbrella? So was it you, Goto-san? I have been in the kitchen the whole time preparing. My sincerest apologies. Goto looked slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with hors d'oeuvres. What about Kumasawa-san or Shannon-chan? Yes? Has something gone wrong? As Shannon had come in partway, she shrank back, mistakenly thinking that the others were searching for the one responsible for some error. It isn't like that. It started to rain when Maria-chan was alone in the rose garden. After that, someone lent her an umbrella. Rosa said she wanted to thank that person. Oh, Beatrice. Maria, her mouth a thin line, said the witch's name in a small voice. Aunt Rosa explained the situation one more time. She did, Kumasawa-san cackled. Oh, it wasn't us. Shannon-chan and I were preparing the rooms together, so we did not go outside. Yes, I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of assistance. Preparing the rooms? What do you mean by that? Because of the rain, we thought it would be troublesome for all the guests to return to the guest house, so the servants were ordered to prepare the guest rooms inside the mansion. Really? How thoughtful. Yes, it certainly would be rude to chase us outside in this rain. Could you give it a rest? Yes. After receiving the order from Madame, Kumasawa-san, Kennen-kun, and I started preparing the rooms. And it became time for dinner, so Genji-sama ordered Kennen-kun to go to the guest house and summon the children. Yes. So did Kennen-san find Maria on the way to the guest house and hand her the umbrella? Ooh, wrong! The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. And she'd thought of asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work out immediately. Then was it you, Natsui-san? Sorry. After everyone's friendly chat, my headache was so bad that I've been resting in my room. Therefore, I did not go outside. Who was it? George-kun and the kids? It can't be right. No, it wasn't us. We were watching television in the guest house the whole time. Actually, we thought Maria had gone back to the mansion with you. Then Canon-kun came and asked whether Maria was with us. That's when we first realized she wasn't in the mansion. I mean, if it were me, I'd have grabbed her hand and pulled her under a roof before giving her an umbrella. Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and the servants denied that they had done it, even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. So by process of elimination, the number of remaining candidates wasn't large. Of course, it wasn't me. Right after it began raining, I visited Kinzo-san's room and I was playing chess with him until just now. Which means that it also wasn't grandfather. Wait a sec. Isn't this starting to get a bit weird? Who's left? Who was it? Genji-san? Huh? Wait a second, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm searching for some culprit or anything. All I want to do is, as a mother, thank the person who gave Maria an umbrella in the middle of rain. Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why not? Everyone started whispering out how strange this was getting. Calm down, Rosa. Why don't we just ask the person who was lent the umbrella? That's what everyone had been thinking since the beginning. They were all scratching their heads at why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lip. Or else she already knew how Maria would answer if asked. Of course. Rudolph-kun here's got it right. Mia-chan, tell your uncle. Who lent you the umbrella? Beatrice! The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant, but was soon interrupted by a burst of laughter. Ha! I see, so Beatrice, the witch of the forest, felt pity and lent her an umbrella. What a lovely story. Rosa, there you have it. Rosa couldn't believe it. Even though she just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella, why did everything have to be so clouded in smoke? Ugh! Just like Uncle Kraus said. Beatrice let me borrow it. Ugh! Haha! Isn't that wonderful? We should all be jealous of such purity. What do you think, everyone? Haha! Kraus was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking, but Maria was overjoyed, apparently convinced that her claim had been believed. How did that work? Does that mean a witch really appeared and lent her an umbrella? Jessica asked me in a small voice that wouldn't carry over to Maria, who was sitting across from me. Maria ever been the type to make jokes? If we heard that kind of story pop out of my old bastard's mouth, we would have just taken it as another joke. However, it was hard to explain it away like that when Maria said it. This was getting pretty unnerving. No way. She's always been frank and serious. She's the sort who'd believe any joke, even ones normal people could instantly tell were lies. Never even heard of her cracking a joke. Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore. So if Maria says she borrowed an umbrella from Beatrice, that must have meant it really was Beatrice? We're talking about Maria here, so I can't think of it as some kind of metaphor or joke. Might be best to take what she says at face value. And what's going on? Are you saying Genji-san or someone put on that fancy dress from the portrait and gave Maria an umbrella? Not sure about that. Actually, that's what I want to know. Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression didn't completely match her attitude. Once the hors d'oeuvres were set out and Gota showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. Couple casual jokes broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant. And the meal ended up being so quiet that you couldn't ignore the sound of the rain sneaking into the dining hall. Tomosawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Cannon on their way to the kitchen. Oh, it's Genji-san. Did you lend Maria-san an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria-sama was alone in the rose garden. Seems she borrowed an umbrella from someone there, but we don't know who it was. Wasn't me. For all, I actually thought Maria-sama was in the guest house. Battler-sama first found her, she was already holding a white umbrella. My apologies, but it was not me either. Then could it actually be the master? Both in the dining hall and right here, everyone had stated that they hadn't done it. That only left Kinzo, but... Maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason when he just happened to see Maria-sama in the rose garden without even an umbrella. Yeah, cannon's pose. Posturing. Much posturing. Anyway, the master is not particularly fond of Maria-sama. I agree. Can't imagine that for Maria-sama's sake he'd go to all the trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. Honestly, like, out of all of the relatives, I feel like he should like Maria. Like, the two of them have the most in common. They like black magic, they make annoying noises I have to voice act. Clearly they are birds of a feather. Oh my, how troublesome. Does that mean the one who lent Maria-sama an umbrella really was Beatrice-sama? Ho ho ho. Kumasawa laughed, but just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound, hands clapping twice, rang throughout the hallway. They all turned around at once to see Gota coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving a dinner, proper timing while setting the table is essential. Please immediately see to setting out the soup. Genji-san, the women are in the middle of an important job, so please don't get in the way. Kennen glared at Gota for being rude to Genji, and a person Kennen respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Kennen once on the shoulder as a warning. Kennen reluctantly turned away and returned his expression to normal. Obey Gota's instructions. Hurry and prepare the dining table. Come now, there's no time. Don't dawdle. Hurry. Gota grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. Please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Gota-san's temper is very short. Oh. Please excuse me as well. Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Kennen remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji-sama, did Beatrice-sama really return? I don't know. Shall I inform the master? It's not necessary. If she truly has returned, she will eventually appear before the master of her own accord. Furthermore, she is a fickle person. It would be pointless to report to the master only to find she does not appear. I wonder if this means that the master's ceremony has already begun. Probably. However, that has nothing to do with furniture like us. We must continue to return the favor we receive from the master until our final moments. Yes, that's it. Furniture's duty. The thunder crashed once more, except for those instants when lightning lit up the sky. Nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, those that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokujima was ruled by another master, not the Ushinomiya family. This master take pity on Maria when she was alone and being pummeled by the rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Kennen looked at the rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. Dim lights weren't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch. Kennen forced himself to avert his gaze. He didn't. It felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. And the weather changed how people act. You often hear stories about things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. Yes, it can. I have experienced that firsthand. For some time now, everyone had been struggling to clear the gloomy atmosphere, but any conversation quickly cut off. In the end, the dining hall was simply filled by the sound of rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake, accompanied by pear sherbet. Gota-san enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as this final dish was presented, but I quickly forgot the details. Guest of honor, grandfather, was absent. The weather was horrible. The identity of the one who'd lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It's too late now, but I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of the meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Gota-san, the supposed conductor of this musical piece called Dinner, did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right, but apparently not one of them succeeded. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. Orange juice after dinner. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Carl spoke. My, what a waste that the dinner Goda worked so hard to create has met with such a gloomy atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today. So, I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, I'll do all I can as your older brother to help cheer you up. Eva grimaced slightly. I'd already heard that she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Kraus, but it was pretty clear now. When I looked around, I noticed that my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Can I just say, she has the most wings all over her, and that is clearly telling. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. Anyway. Apparently, there was something beside the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Eva and my dad aren't looking too happy. Really? I don't think so. I asked Aunt Natsui, who was sitting on my right. She seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as if to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. It isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Battler-kun. Ah, isn't that right, Natsui-san? Kirie-san. Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness. So I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their adult conversation had become. On top of that, even Aunt Natsui and Kirie-san, the people he had directed his comment to, ignored him as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they'd been having while his kids were away, but it reminded me of how Dad said he had stomach cramps when we arrived at the mansion. Family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but was definitely different for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comment was ignored by the other adults and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kirie-san spoke up. We were talking about how the kids' careers would turn out. Such is what lies in your future, Battler-kun. Will you just drift on to college? Wouldn't that be a little disheartening as a starting line for the long race of life? Hey, wait a sec. Kirie-san, if you start talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, it won't digest well. We'll all end up getting constipated. Wahaha! That's right. We were talking about Battler-kun and Jessica-chan's careers. You've got to think seriously about the future. Wahaha! Hideyoshi heartily agreed, as if they really had been talking about that, but that was probably wrong. Kirie-san had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kirie-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Eva and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Tomosawa-san and Chenin-chan served it to everyone. Goda-san then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner of my life. It was a shame this best of dinners couldn't have been under the best conditions. Georgini-chan, is dinner over now? Over? Yes, but this dinner is finished. Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasional crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting. Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George Anarchy that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What's that? Where'd you get it? George was the first to notice it. As he spoke, Battler noticed it too. He saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Ushiro-miya family crest, one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear that it wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. Maria-chan, what's that? It seemed that Natsui had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. The voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child. The relatives around us finally noticed too. What's happened, Natsui-ne-san? What is that? Maria, where did you pick that up? That envelope has Kinzo-san's... Najo muttered that. Even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushinomiya family head's custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Oh, what's an envelope like that doing here? Now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. So let me have a peek. Ugh, no way, I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone. Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out of Maria's hands, but she protected it as though hugging it and didn't let go. Hideyoshi-san, you can't use force against a child. Maria-chan, where did you get this envelope? Ugh, I got it from Beatrice when she gave me the umbrella. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal was over. I'm the witch's messenger. Ugh. Messenger? The almighty witch of the islands likes to mess around. Battler tried to joke about it, but no one laughed. I wonder what's written inside of it. Maria-chan? Ugh. Gonna read it. Ugh. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it in the center of the table, where Natsui, Kyrie, and Nanja stared at it. Printed in the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushinomiya family crest, and also Kinzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from the letters I have received from Kinzo-san before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing that crest? For example, if there was some kind of stamp for wax seals, couldn't someone other than Kinzo-san have used it? No, Kinzo-san would always use a ring on his finger, as proof of the Ushinomiya family headship, when he sealed the wax. The shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo-san's seal. It's not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove that's the real thing. So it doesn't prove this envelope came from him. I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from father based solely on the wax seal. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? I apologize. It's not my place to speak. One after another, all of the siblings from Kraus downward rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kinzo. We're afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts. Kinzo's intentions were written in there. Yes, both of the brothers do look like sleazy used car salesmen. It's very unfortunate that Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some announcement regarding the inheritance that would be decided unfavorable to them. Yeah? The person who gave it that envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right? I don't know what means. Is it true? Yes. So in other words, witch, Beatrice, gave Maria-chan that envelope along with the umbrella. Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. Isn't even worth reading. There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Adler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Natsui heard him clearly, glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over, right, Maria? Okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from Grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? That's right. Even if Father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria-chan, I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize, so will you read it aloud in front of everyone? Maria, read it. As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. Think it really did come from Dad? Possible. Whenever Father has announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct? I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach. That's right. Maria, a messenger? That definitely doesn't suit Father's taste. Rosa, could this be Maria-chan trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who'd be capable of something so thoughtful. Gonna read it! Ugh. Words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone suddenly went silent. Welcome to Rokanjima, members of the Ushiromiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family, employed by Kinzo-sama himself. Ha, that's crazy. Quiet. I've served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask you to acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. How foolish. What nonsense. I can't stand to listen to it. And now, there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiromiya family as interest. Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound like just like one of those contracts with the devil? Contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. She's trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something. What a cheeky witch. Battler-kun, now isn't the time to joke around. Battler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale while others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have the chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If, and only if, that special clause is fulfilled, will I lose my rights to the gold and the interest for all eternity. Special clause? What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulate interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of the special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushiromiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushiromiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind the seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Carlos stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Eva and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger. Dr. Nanjo, don't say that something so careless just because of a vague memory. Can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth. That's right. It's just as Kirei-san says. You really think Kinzo-san will tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk about that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all of the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor or in charge of his funds. You can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts such a suspicious paper to a child. Aniki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible. As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. This must mean that there are some assets you don't control, right, Krasny-san? How foolish. Such assets could not possibly exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father's that you don't control. There's no way such a thing could exist. No, it does. Fathers know Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. Sure, Dad has some entrusted confidant confidant that Anaki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or it could be some eccentric rich person who offered him a loan with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Curious question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. While it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden.